theories of learning go along with teaching styles. Let's cover first, just quickly talk about teaching styles. So there are different styles. It can be the preacher, role model, facilitator, ambassador. Okay. The style of preacher. I'll tell you why I say so. Okay. The authority as well. Preacher. This is actually, without even thinking, it was the first one, because this is the role as a teacher. You take a role as the way you take the style you're passing the information. And actually, there's actually a preacher style, which the one that is preaching you, you have to do the way. And sometimes in Brazil it happens, and people even mix their own beliefs with the lesson, and that's what I call the preacher. And they're preaching to their audience. Okay. Then you have the role model, do the way I do. Sometimes the facilitator is not facilitator. The role model, the competitor type, do the way I did, and you're going to get the same results. Facilitator is going to get the person, the people, and give them, design the lesson in a way that will help them to learn. The authority, whatever I say, it's true, and I'm the only one holding the knowledge here. And ambassador is the one that's you have the space, and I'm just here to hold the space for you. Okay. So there are different types of style. I'm not going to get into much detail here, because I think that the series of learning, they can better inform the teacher's style or the teacher's teaching style. And of course, there's a personality. The teacher has a type of personality, preferences, and it will also influence the way the person leads the lesson. However, in my opinion, this has to be informed by theories of learning. Okay, because there is evidence here. You can take the evidence from here and apply to our teaching style, and there's no guessing, or there's less guessing. There's less space for having to guess or having to figure things out by yourself, or just projecting your own personality, your own expectations, your own bias onto your own beliefs, your religion, your politics onto your students. And these things, they actually happen. So we spoke about it, I mentioned it, I went into a little bit more detail. So if you look at established theories of learning, behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, humanism, and you think about a teacher's style, I'm not going to go into detail here what they are, but I'm going to have a different focus on teacher's style. Okay, and then you got the teacher's style. And you're going to think about, again, a continuum. Oh, I continue. My straight line isn't that straight, but you are going to forgive me this time. Okay. And you have let me try to learner centered from one side, and then on the other side you have teacher centered. Okay. So you have a continuum here where, let's see, okay, this here. You have a continuum here. Okay, this straight line, it starts from a style that's fully teacher-centered, where the teacher is the one telling what people have to do, is the only authority, is directing, commanding, prescribing his methodology and the information. He's transferring the information from his brain to the other person's brain, and the person have to do, the people, they have to do whatever the teacher tells them, and he knows better. Okay, this is a teacher-centered learning environment. And then you go in the other side, you have a learner-centered style. Okay, the teacher is, your style is either on two extremes, teacher or learner-centered. Okay, if your style is more learners or fully learner-centered, the main actor here is not the teacher anymore, but the student. Where in the most extreme, in terms of in the furthest of this line here, you have a teacher that gives the space, design the space for the student to express himself or herself, to discover, to progress in the learning process, and by doing so to support the learner to self-actualize. See? These are very different styles. And the way you teach can be informed by established theories of learning. You can have a more behavioristic approach, where you're going to set up an environment with different type of conditions, and you have specific goals, and you're going to have contingents in your lesson with rewards. You can use rewards or punishments, or you can use different types of contingents in order to direct your students into a specific, a desired outcome. You see, so you can use appraisals, feedback. You can feed forward. You can punishments. No, in order to, okay, we have to do certain things. You have to perform, and we have to perform in a certain way, and that's how you're going to do. So I'm going to be directing you into this specific outcome. This is very behavioristic, and it's very teacher-centered. And I'm not making a value judgment in this style. I'm just describing it. Or you can design a lesson where there's an information to be transferred from you to your students. So this information will be passed through by you explaining them things and telling them what's the objective, and you have a specific standard in terms of performance, a specific technique, and then they are going to work around this technique, and the students, they have their role as well into trying to understanding it and trying to articulate this information. And you're going to show positions, and you're going to repeat the positions in movements. They are going to try to do their best in order to find a form, to perform this movement in a certain way, within a certain threshold in terms of quality, in terms of how well they perform this movement based on a standard that is prescribed by the teacher. Or the teacher will design the lesson in a way that facilitates for students to acquire, to understand the information that they are being given by the teacher. And each person has different backgrounds, different physical, cognitive capacities, and they will try to interpret what it means for them and how they can perform this technique. They will try to construct their own knowledge, not only based on the information that the teacher is passing to them, but they are going to, based on their past experiences, if they did gymnastics, if they did any other type of martial arts, and they are going to mix it together and to create, to construct a level of performance, taking into consideration all these inputs, all these variables, both from outside, from what they are being shown by the teacher, but from inside as well, on their interpretation and how they can solve movement problems. Or finally, the students, they are left to self-organize, self-motivate, and they have this space where they go there, they choose how they are going to progress, how they are going to evolve. And now a form is not as important, but what is important and how you're going to take this information, interpret this information, and take your own direction using the space that are given, the support from the teacher, and this develop your own style in a way that better benefits you in terms of your goals, in terms of your understanding of where you are today, where you want to be, your different objectives, and the way you relate yourself with your students, with society, and with society as a whole. Okay, so these theories of learning, they can inform the way you're going to teach and how much of teacher or learner centered your style is going to be. You can be right here, or even right here. Okay, without passing values, judgments on each styles, but it can help you a lot. And you don't have to be guessing, you don't have to be copying. Of course, you always put your own personality, your own past experience on what you're teaching, but you're being formed by evidence. Let's go to the next part.